What's up, everyone? We are live at 5. It's Tuesday, June 23rd. I'm Paul Wanturek.
And I'm Michael James Scott. What's going
up?
on?
How you doing?
I'm good, boo. Happy Pride. I'm excited.
Happy
I'm happy.
Pride. You know, it is at the end of June. It gets very proud. Everybody gets very proud.
I'm living for that shirt that you're giving me right now.
Let's talk. I actually have this is I want to give a shout out to Ryan Casey, Broadway.com illustrator extraordinaire. This is a shirt. This is Nathan Lane. This is from when he was. That's Nathan Lane. When he was on Show People, he said, "I'm totally gay down to my shoes." So we made a Pride shirt out of it. So I decided to throw it on. And you got some Disney Pride.
I'm giving you a Disney Pride moment. Yes, this was a special shirt that they did last Pride, and so I'm very happy to own it because there's not many.
Fantastic. We are joined as always by the fantastic Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello, everybody. Happy Pride.
So let's talk about what's going on today. We have an amazing panel. Again, it's Tuesday. Michael's with us on Tuesdays. Who's here today?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I just got flustered because I'm just so excited about it. But today we have three fierce people. We're going to be joined by Celia Rose Gooding, Alex Newell, and Christian Dante White. It is so full out, y'all. Get ready. We're so excited.
I'm so excited. But first, let's do a little bit of news.
A new virtual reading is happening, and you do not want to miss it.
Oh, this is my story. I almost waited for you to start talking, but I'm off today. So MCC Theater is doing these live labs. They're doing a bunch of play readings. And so they're doing When by C.A. Johnson, who wrote all the Natalie Portmans, which we were just talking about because Montego Glover was in that.
Yes.
And so this reading is happening tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. So right after Live at 5, you can go over there. It's on the MCC YouTube, directed by Taylor Reynolds, starring Portia, the fantastic, fierce Portia, and Antoinette Crowe legacy. And it's about a woman named Maribel and her daughter Jessie. And I'm sure it's fantastic because they do really good stuff.
Yes, and this is Queen Idina Menzel belting because Disney Plus is giving fans a backstage pass to the making of Frozen 2.
OMG, this is so exciting. On June 26th, Disney Plus will be releasing the docuseries Into the Unknown, Making Frozen 2. Into the Unknown! Into the Unknown! I'll have to get Alex to finish that part, the last one for me. Get ready, Alex. Which explores the creation of Frozen sequel. The series follows director-writer Jennifer Lee, the director Chris Buck, songwriters Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, and stars Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Kristen Bell, my fierce friend Josh Gad, and the artists and technicians of Disney Animation. Y'all check out the trailer. It's not to be missed. It's so exciting. I can't wait.
You get a little extra pep in your step when you're talking about Disney. I'm just saying.
Yes, and it's Tuesday, which means we have another awesome set list for today's 24 hours virtual monologues.
This thing just keeps going. So of course that's Sekhan Sengbla, who we love, of course. So 24-hour plays viral monologues it's going. It's just like this ongoing series on IGTV, and they keep picking different charities. And right now it's Release Aging People in Prison, which is a charity that does exactly what you think it does based on its name. Sekhan is in it. Zasha Mamet, John Rua, a bunch of great theater people. It all starts rolling out tonight at 6 p.m. So be sure to check that out.
Yes, and we got a little update on what's happening at Steppenwolf Theater.
Yes, we do. So the Steppenwolf Theater Company has announced that its previously scheduled 2020-2021 season is getting a reset in the wake of the coronavirus crisis. It will still include Terrell Alvin McCraney's Tony-nominated Choir Boy, directed by Slade Play's Robert O'Hara, as well as a new theatrical take on the 2005 film Good Night, and good luck. In addition, the new Steppenwolf season will include a return of Erica L. Sanchez's I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter, which played this past spring until COVID-19 shut everything down. So there's that.
Cool. I have a little bonus news thing that just happened. So, Time Out New York, the fantastic magazine and website, they announced nominees for the Time In Awards, which is they're honoring all the entertainment that's happening while we're all in. And Buyer and Seller, this reading that I co-directed for Broadway.com from Michael Urie's fantastic performance, it was nominated. So I just want to give a shout out to Michael Urie, and there he is holding his barber book, and the whole team. It's nominated in the category of Virtual Stage Award, the Virtual Stage Award for the best live play reading. So,
oh my gosh, congrats.
Thank you. You can go on and vote, and maybe we'll win an award.
Vote. That's fantastic.
I don't know what you get for it, but it's still very exciting, right, Caitlin?
Very exciting. And you just said go vote. New York.
Yes.
Vote today. And Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. Look at that.
And another state that I don't remember. But 3 states vote today. So New York, make sure you guys do it.
Fantastic.
I'm here for you guys.
Caitlin, let's get out of here because Michael James Scott is here. He runs the show on Tuesdays.
He does. Thank you.
We just work here.
Oh my God. I love you both. Get out of here.
We'll both be here watching. We can't wait. Have fun. See you later.
Bye. Yes. Well, it is now my turn. Welcome back to another Roundtable episode of #Live at 5, hosted by me, Michael James Scott. Today, y'all, we are doing I'm just so excited. We're doing a special Pride-themed discussion with Broadway favorites, fierce favorites. We have Celia Rose Gooding, we have the Alex Newell, and we have fierce Christian Dante White. Oh my God.
She got one too.
Let's get into it.
You guys. Oh my gosh.
I'm flying outside right now. So.
I am so happy to see y'all. Thank y'all for being a part of this #Live at 5 Pride episode. I'm just thrilled that your beautiful faces are here with me to chat and get up into it. So but before we do this now, I do this every week. I have to brag on my fierce panelists. So let me just brag on y'all real quick. I mean, I know that the audience knows who y'all already is, but let me brag on you some more. So the lovely Celia here made her Broadway debut in Jagged Little Pill as Frankie Healy. Yes, there it is, a role she originated when the show premiered at American Repertory Theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Oh. She was a finalist for the 2020 Clive Barnes Awards and took home the award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical at Broadway Black's inaugural Antonio's Awards, y'all. Broadway.com also named her one of the top 5 best Broadway debuts of the season. Come on now. That's everything.
Yes.
Work is right. Okay. So the Alex Newell, that's right, the Alex Newell, earned acclaim for his Broadway debut as Asaka. In the Tony-winning revival of Once on This Island. I got to see him. He was everything. He was so good. He is featured on the television musical comedy Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, which y'all, it was just picked up for a second season. That's amazing. Look at God. Oh yes, God. Come on now. Come on through a pandemic, getting work. Oh yes. Prior to Broadway, Newell was known for appearing on both Glee and the Glee Project. We're so happy to have you. And of course, the fierce Christian Dante White, Dapper White, if you will. Christian was most recently seen in the 2018 revival of My Fair Lady. Yes, as Freddie Hill. Come on now. His other Broadway credits include Hello, Dolly, Shuffle Along, or the making of the musical sensation of 1921, and All That Followed, The Book of Mormon, and The Scottsboro Boys. I am so excited to have y'all here. Welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
All right, so let me just get started. Let's just get out of the gate. Let's just. So, what does being a prideful queer Black person? What does that mean to you right now? What does it mean? Somebody jump on in. Come on, Miss Celia.
Okay. I think there's so much rioting energy right now with what's going on racially and what's going on with sexual orientation and gender identity. There's so much of us moving forward, but it also reminds me of what Pride originally was, and it was a riot centered around Black trans women. And so I think now that we have an opportunity to push forward and continue for our rights, it's awesome because we get to give a little blast to the past. I'm just really overwhelmed and overjoyed and super grateful that I have an opportunity to continue my energy towards a fantastic movement. I feel real good. I
love that. I love it. I'm living for that. How about you, Alex? What does it mean for you?
Pride is just that, and it's about being a community and being proud of your community and coming together, literally coming together. I mean, we're fighting for what should be a normal thing. It should be quite literally a human right. Everything should be a human right. You should have the right to live, and reflecting on where we've been and where we're going, and at the baseline, getting our house in order to be stronger as a community and going forward.
Oh, I love that. Getting our house in order.
Right.
Yes, come on.
House in order.
Hey! Are we already in church? Good Lord, here we go.
Listen, you brought us together. You knew it was gonna happen.
I did bring it together, so I'm living for it. How about you, Christian Dante Dapper White? Come on, tell me why you were proud. How is this? What does this mean for you?
It means everything to me, and everything I've ever done in my career has always been about the Black boy joy and the Black Lives Matter and coming together and representing our community in the best way. And I'm so looking forward to this next movement in our theater community, because we need to be reflecting what's happening in the world, and the world is shifting, and I believe that theater is shifting as well. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm honored always to represent Black queerness on the Broadway stage.
Ooh, yes. Come on now. I love it. I love it. So I kind of want to get a little, let me go there for a second.
Go there.
Talk to me about your thoughts on the LGBTQ community and whether or not it's been recognized, sort of some of the issues within our own Black community. I know that's a lot. But talk to me, sort of give me a little bit of your thoughts on that and what you're feeling in that moment, and where we are going and where we still need to get to.
I said this earlier in the week, over a couple weeks ago, about being comfortable with where we are and not realizing where we've come from, especially in our own queer community. We like to get complacent in the privilege of being able to walk down the street and hold hands, and being able to go to a gay bar and not think twice about anything, unlike the people that have come before us. And we get complacent in the fact that we forget that a Black trans woman was the first person to throw a brick at Stonewall and start that initial riot. We get very complacent in all of that because it's not immediate. It's not right now. It's not happening right now, but everything always comes back full circle.
Yes, absolutely. What do you all think on that, Christian or Celia? What do you all think on that? It's a big question, I know.
It is a big question. I mean, we are very spoiled in New York. We can walk down the street and fully be ourselves. We can go down to the Village. That's why it's so important, for me at least, to be out and proud on Broadway, to represent for those who don't have that privilege, and so they can see themselves on stage. Because, I'm so happy all these conversations are happening right now, because we're moving the needle forward. Because even in the LGBT community, there's a lot of racism going on that needs to be dealt with, and even people that thought they weren't.
Say that again.
There's a lot. There's a lot of racism in the LGBTQ community, and it needs to be dealt with. And it's time that we all get uncomfortable and have some hard conversations and really reflect within ourselves. And even in the Black gay community, there's some stuff. So we gotta, like Al said, we gotta clean up our house before we start inviting others in. But I know I got my duster and I'm ready.
Yes.
Alex gave a full church wave with the.
Oh, I got
Celia,
my Bible somewhere, honey.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Jesus. Celia, what about for you? What are your thoughts in that sort of this sort of big question about our community within a community?
I'm super lucky to have the family that I do. They're very aware of my queerness and they're very accepting of it. I know that situation is not very common, especially in the Black community. I remember doing Jagged and playing an openly queer Black character. I got so many DMs and so many messages saying, hey, from Black queer people saying, hey, thank you so much for doing this. This show has inspired me to come out to my family. And I feel like that is such an important part of what's going on, especially representing queer Blackness on Broadway, because as we all know, the Black community is not the first community to be like, yay, queerness. That's not, that, like, we already have enough to fight. I feel like a lot of queer Black people hide their queerness as a means of survival, and that's so unfair. But I just, especially right now, I'm so grateful and I'm so like happy to be queer and happy to be queer and loud about it, no matter who gets uncomfortable, because we only grow with honesty. And I find that, especially right now, the more we just burst open the floodgates and sort of look away from the fear and the anger and the hatred of queerness, especially in the Black community, the moment we sort of say, you know what, that's going to be what it is, but for the sake of me and my people, I got to keep my tunnel vision. I got to stay forward and I got to be outspoken, because the more we normalize queerness in the Black community, the more acceptance there will be, because there are so many of us. I don't, in my personal family, I don't know many queer people besides me and my sister. Like, and I know I know we're not the only two queer people in our family. Right. It's not the case, but it's all about speaking out so that others can feel empowered to speak out as well.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. I mean, it's why this platform on Broadway.com has been so important for me, to be able, because this is an audience, a huge audience of really amazing theater lovers, and a lot of them have not gotten to hear this kind of conversation from some of their favorite Black, actors, and you are those people. So it's wonderful to be able to actually crack open this sort of this door that we're actually getting to talk about this on this platform. That already is a change. So thank you all for that and being brave to be able to speak your truth. So I'm thankful for that. So I want to get into some some individual questions for you, and sort of kind of get your thoughts on this. So, Alex, your career has taken you many places, obviously, musically, and of course, not just on Broadway, but also on television. I feel like you are the example of someone who created your own lane and showed no apologies for who you are, and which I love, admire, think it's so wonderful. It's inspired so many people. How do you think you've contributed to the narrative that in this business, a queer person of color could break boundaries and on top of that be taken seriously in a major level?
Oh, well, if you respect yourself first, I think everything comes into play second, and the respect comes with it, and people see how you respect your own self. How I got here, I was very open to learning everything. I started off in church like most of us did, and I knew gospel like the back of my hand, like the front of my hand. Gospel was in me. And then I started learning other music. And then I fell in love with musical theater. And I did that. And I was good at that. I was really good at that.
Yes, you are.
From there, I was like really good at it. And from there, like TV fell directly in my lap. Like someone's like, you should audition for Glee, and I was just like, no, and sure. And then 4 years later, I'm on Glee with this amazing role written for me by just the inspiration of my talent. But I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing, and I asked questions, and I said no, and I was unemployed for a very long time because I wanted to take myself seriously, and I wasn't going to just take anything. I wanted to carve a place for me and the people after me. And that's a hard thing to know. Like I never saw myself on television. I really didn't see myself on Broadway. I wanted to I said this, I was doing a fan favorite Comic-Con panel, and I was just like, in our industry as an actor, performer, blah, 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 and if you're creating something and you've been creating the same exact story so many times, and you're just turning a blind eye to the other stories that don't fit your categorical box, you're compliant to saying that that doesn't exist and that's not right. And I, for one, didn't like that. So I would go in for the gay role and I would do it differently than the normal would. And you can, if you want to, the baseline is if you want to be successful, you have to put your own self on the line, and you have to know that your talent will finally get you something that you actually want.
Yes.
I want to jump in and say too, everything that you've done, Alex, from the Glee talent show that got you on Glee to Broadway to now this TV show, you don't quietly do anything. When you step to the forefront, you let folks know what's going on, who you are, and all of your talent. And that takes guts and tenacity. And I just want to applaud you for that, because there's something to be said about fully being who you are and owning every single moment. And you full out with no marking every single time. And I think that should be commended, because that takes guts.
I adore you. I adore you. It really comes with respecting yourself. You have to respect yourself and know when enough is enough. And know when you're not done yet. It's all right here, and right here, it's a being of respect first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think right now, and just sort of, and you sort of navigating that. I mean, you know, when you really think about it, and you know, as I'm starting to break down the three of you, to be able to navigate something like that in this business, being who we are as queer folk, if you will, and that it's not just, you know, it's not all of who we are. It's just a part of who we are, right? But because we get put into a box when we are told that this is the way, you know, these are the roles that we're supposed to be doing, these are the things we're supposed to be doing. So to be able to actually navigate a career that all three of you are, you know, in different stages of your career and what you're doing, but like to be able to do that is pretty remarkable. And for those of you out there, just our audience knows, like, I think a lot of people make it look easy, you know, and especially these three, they make it look easy in terms of just sort of the grace that they have. But obviously being Black in this business is a whole other thing, but being Black and gay in this business and all of the things that we sort of have to go through is another added layer onto it. And so what comes with that for us and navigating that is really tough. And these, you can tell the reason why a lot of these three are successful is because they actually make it look easier than it actually is. So I'm just saying. So Celia, you know, you star as Frankie in Jagged Little Pill, and you said that your character Frankie is figuring out her sexuality. Look at you, yes, with that off the shoulder moment.
We love it off the shoulder. We love a collarbone.
It's the waist that gets me. The waist.
The waist. Right.
I used to look like that. I used to look like that. In utero.
That's some LaShawn's jeans. That's some LaShawn's jeans.
Right. It's that waist. Right, and then you're giving me like a booty short, like as well.
I say it all the time. The shortest shorts on Broadway.
I'm living for oil of that. Yes, there she is, and that puppet. So listen, so you said that your character's figuring out her sexuality, figuring out what it means to be Black. She's coming into that intersectionality of queer Black womanhood. It's not far, obviously, from your own experience, but
not at all, actually.
It's and I find it quite incredible to that you're so young and yet so confident in an industry where you're not only Black but a queer actor of color and a woman. First of all, work, that's fierce. Secondly, what boundaries and or foundations do you feel like you've had to set up to be held in the same light as your white co-stars, or as your straight co-stars? What do you feel like that has been like for you?
I think something that I'm still learning and something that I am working on is really caring less about other people's comfort. My joy and my success is always going to make somebody else uncomfortable. And I'm not gonna make myself small so that they can see me. You're gonna see all of me, or you're gonna go cross-eyed trying to.
Oh,
come on now!
I almost not Jesus.
I hope someone tweeted that. I hope somebody tweeted that.
Oh my God.
That's a word. That's a word.
Hallelujah.
So like what Alex said, it was I found this role at a point in my life where it was the last thing I was expecting. I was 16 years old in a very white high school, just trying to figure my own life out. And my mother says, "Hey, do you know the song by Alanis Morissette?" And I'm running around my kitchen singing it because I love it. And I just continue to believe in myself and continue to say, this is who I am. I refuse to apologize for it. Either you're with me or you can find someone else. Thank you very much for your time. And by the grace of the gods, I'm here and I'm able to do this. So I think the foundation was confidence in myself, knowing my worth and continuing to expand on my worth, because I, as a Black queer woman, am worthy of all things, despite what this country tells me. And so continuing to work in that and know that and have my family and my friends continue to support me, I refused to make myself small because I had all this support. It's something that I'm working on every day. It's not like a switch that flips. Some days I feel worthy of everything. Other days I don't get out this bed. It's just, it's an ongoing thing, and understanding that it's an ongoing thing is a huge part of it. And forgiving myself when I get down on myself and when I question my talent, that's a huge part of it. It's all about realizing that I am a full-fledged human and I deserve to be treated as a human like my white, straight, cis actors. And I do not have to do backflips and quads and aerials to be respected. I shouldn't have to do that. And I will continue to say that I should not have. If you want me to give 200% while you're expecting other people's 100, we are not on the same team.
Woo.
And I think just doing that and letting people sit with that discomfort is a part of it. I refuse to make myself small anymore. I got too much stuff I got to do.
I mean, I feel like we're going into, this is why we tell the story. I mean, like, you're just letting us have it. I love that. That's well, it's beautiful. I mean, it's like you said, you have been, you're in a very special situation where you have a family that has given you that empowerment, and to so many of us, and we know so many of young Black queer, young artists, and not even just artists, but kids who don't have that. We all know those people. Mm-hmm. We all know what that feels like. We all know what that what that looks like. And so it's important that we are actually talking about it. So it's amazing that at your age, people are be able to see that like you know, that they're maybe not afraid to walk, you know, with their head up and basically just not apologizing for who they are. So
Listen, I've got to see the sun, baby. Listen,
my favorite thing about the three of you is, and I always say this in, like, you know, in interviews when someone asks about like advice with somebody, I'm always like, well, I mean, advice is very subjective, but know your ministry. And that is that. And I feel like all three of you know your ministry. So I love that. I love that about all three of you. Christian, Dante, Dapper White. So you took a turn as Freddie. I have often walked, like you gave me, you know, like giving it, you know, this beloved classic. There it is. There it is. Come on now.
Wow.
In that, look at you in the classic, this epic revival of My Fair Lady at Lincoln Center. A role not typically played by a man of color, if you will. So I find it fascinating because I want to know, what challenges did you face? Not only having these preconceived notions from people about you playing the part, but also as an actor who is out, proud, and this idea that a gay actor can't play a straight role, let alone a Black actor playing the role. So it's like the trifecta of it all. Like it's kind of incredible to me. It's sort of like a mind-blowing thing, but you did it. And so what challenges? I know you faced some challenges. I know you went through. Yeah. So what were those, and how did you come out of that?
How did I come out of it? I always said to myself, I can do it. I can. And I just believed in myself, and I worked really, really hard. And I learned very early on, you know, I wasn't the Brandon Victor Dixon or the Josh Henry. I'm not a dancer. I am a singer, actor. So I had to learn how to do more things to be more hireable. So I learned how to sing legit. I learned how to sing Broadway style. I can do soulful music just so I could be more versatile. And I pushed my agents to submit me for things, not just Black shows, but for other shows. So I'm used to being in white spaces, being the only Black person, like in Hello, Dolly. When I had to step up to the plate last minute, I had to be prepared. And when I stepped on that stage, I'm stepping on stage representing Black people, representing queer people. So it was more of a responsibility for me. So that was kind of like my stomping grounds when I went through all of that with Hello, Dolly, those huge moments. And when My Fair Lady happened, I remember they asked, you know, you have to fill out, what do you want to do press? And I was very adamant about my first principal role, that I would be out and speak to not only just to also speak to the Black press about what was going on, because I wanted people to know and see that we can do anything. If you work hard and you're prepared, anything can happen. And when I came into that building, I worked hard and I was prepared, and it was a glorious time. But I also, kind of like what Celia was saying, I kind of put out the noise and just focus on myself and focus on my work. Because you can say a lot of things about me, but you can't say I don't work hard and I don't show up to work. And that's something that will always, I think, take people far. And I never limited myself, because anything you throw at me, I can do, except for dancing. Now I can't do the dancing. That's not my ministry. But if I need to sing country, I got you. If I got to do that, I got you, you know, because I just had to learn what was going to work best for me. And I know my grandmother raised me this way. I work in excellence. I work in Black excellence. And that's what's taken me so far. So bring it.
You said I work in excellence. I work in Black excellence.
That's right. I come prepared. You know, too many people have paved the way for all of us to be where we are. And I want to continue that. It's our job to continue that legacy, to make it easier for the people coming behind us, you know. So I will challenge my agent and say, no, call that casting director back. I can sing legit. Call them back. Nope, I want an appointment, or I'll just show up. But I'm going to show up. I also have to show out, you know. So it's not just, you can't just sit here and be like, You got to be ready, folks. You got to be ready. And that takes a lot of, like you were saying earlier, we make it look easy, but you don't see, you know, me renting the studio the day before, you know, making sure I got everything going together so I can come back the next day and get the job and do my personal best. That's what it's about.
Yes. I'm like, thank you all. Good night. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for running us.
Bye. Thank you so much. No, yes, that's all. I mean, I think for me, it was really important to hear people talk about this who are in the now. Like, Alex touched on something where, about the sort of also not forgetting about our past, like really being complacent with the fact and taking for granted of where we come from. And it's so important now that in this sort of awakening that we're all in, and this, I feel like there's a lot of quiet space as well for a lot of people, for a lot of us who are so social and so like, oh my God, like living our lives and our normal sort of pre-COVID-19 lives, but that there's a lot of quiet space right now, and there's a lot of reflection. And so it's important that we are having that, because we are living it right now. And so what is it that we want to take after all this craziness that we're living in right now? What is it that we're going to take for the after? What are we doing? This is not, I've said it before, we talked about this in some of the previous panels, about it not being about not being a sprint, that this is a marathon for us, and that we are not forgetting about. So I'm thank you all for talking about that and being open enough to share what it is for you all, and the fact that you do make it look easy is very different from what we're actually going through. So I appreciate that. So has there been an experience where you and this is for any of you to sort of answer, has there been an experience that made you really like sort of question, being Black, being queer, like all the things, like what in this business, and I know you all have had your experiences, to say the least, but is there anything that stands out to you that sort of shocked you, and that maybe has stuck with you to use as a fuel to, do better, or to sort of like push through this sort of narrative of the discrimination and sort of the issues that we have been facing?
I have one. And as soon as I said those words, I was like, somebody gonna be mad I said this. They can be mad right now. So,
let him use you, sis. Let him use you. Let him use you.
So I remember this was after a show, and I was going in stage. It was just me signing. And this girl who I don't think knew that I heard her, but she was like, she's so talented. She's just so dark. I'm like,
wow.
All right.
So how did that make you feel in that moment? How did that make you feel?
I was pissed. One, but me knowing I am my mother's child, I could not reach forward and do what I felt like I wanted to do, but I didn't maintain my composure. And I think that's obviously she did not leave the show with the information that I wanted her to have, and that's not on me. If you don't want to receive the message, that's on you, Pooh. I delivered my message. So if you don't want to receive it, that's fine. But it just, as a dark-skinned woman, it is so hard to be received as wantable. It's so hard to be received as soft and capable of intimacy, because stereotypically we're seen as hard, mannish. Like, look at how Michelle Obama was treated, and she's not even, her and I are not the same complexion. Like, right. And it was something that really stuck with me, because I've already dealt with the bullying about my skin. I've already dealt with it. I'm over that. That is no longer mine. They can keep those messages. Those don't belong to me anymore. And so it was a feeling of what can, in that moment, I was like, what can I do to be seen as beyond that? And that's an issue, because I should not want to be seen as beyond my skin. I should want to be seen in my skin as the talented, dark, queer, capable woman that I am. And I don't, and it was just an issue of like, are we still here? Like I went right back to that second grade girl who was being teased and taunted. And I felt like I was going back to that place. And that actually really informed me for my next show, because sometimes I forget that like, it's such a funny thing to say, but sometimes I forget how dark I am. Sometimes I like, cause I'm so like, I got stuff to do. I'm not worried about how you
Right.
in tone. I have stuff to do. I got bills to pay. Like it was a moment of me going back and saying, oh yeah, this is how Frankie feels standing in front of that classroom, reading her poetry that she's so proud of and being just torn to shreds. That moment of feeling like that scared little girl again, being picked apart. And that informed me for my next show. So to that person, if you're watching this, thank you. I felt that in my spirit. So I appreciate you and your ignorance, because I hope you now are informed to know that, yes, I'm dark. I'm dark as hell, and I'm beautiful. So
yes,
if there is an issue with that, then that's an issue on your behalf. It's not mine. I'm not changing, because who I am and what I am has gotten me to this point, and it's going to continue to get me into rooms that I don't even know of yet.
Right.
Yes.
So it was a moment.
I think it's very interesting, because most people don't even I don't think people think that those kinds of things happen often. And as we all know, they happen a lot. They happen all the time, like at the stage door, like all kinds of things like people will, say, and it's kind of like, striking. Or, if you've been on television and they see you in the public and they want an autograph and they want a selfie, and the things that come out of audiences' mouths, just they don't, it's not even, people don't even realize that kind of what happens all the time. That's why I was curious if there was anything that helped you, as crazy of a situation as it is in this business. Was there something that stands out to you that you could move forward through with this narrative, because it's a tough thing to kind of get through. So since the Broadway community has so many LGBTQ plus community members, obviously the Broadway's filled with lots of gay folks.
What? For me.
What? I'm out of here. Get by.
I got the
Thursday in my Christian home.
Fix it.
So because of that, I am curious from you all, like, what can Broadway do to help specifically its LGBTQ plus members of color? Like, what can they do in that community and sort of and lifting them up as we're in the moment? I mean, we're in this moment of awakening, and not only in our country but in the world. But what do you think the Broadway community can do for us? Like, there's some. I'm about action, and so I
acknowledge our existence.
Ooh,
that's number one.
I think giving us more joy. I feel like as Black people, there's like, in order for us to be seen as worthy, we have to overcome some struggle, and I don't understand that. I think giving us just more room for joyful, for the sake of just being joyful.
Listening to us.
Yeah.
Producing new voices. I'm so sick of the same 5 stories being told. Take a break, go to Bali. There's some new stories and new faces that need to be on stage, and new types of people. It's such a small spectrum. I find that white gay male actors can do so many things, whether on TV or not. But if there's a gay play, there's usually one Black character, and it's usually like a TV star or a Tony nominated. But they don't create avenues for more Black queer stories on commercial Broadway, and that needs to change, because we're constantly under a white male gay scope, and that needs to change. We got to get a new lens, honey. It's time to update the iPhone.
Y'all running on iOS 4.
Listen.
Thank you. Time to update it. Right. Time to update it. because the theater should be reflecting the world, and the world is a new, vast, beautiful place. But on Broadway, we're still in this same little box that was created, years and years and umpteens ago, that has not shifted. The little pinwheel is still slowly moving. We need to take, while we're here, pause, let that thing update, invite in some new folks to the table, produce some new work, and let in some new voices, because that's what we need right now. And I think that's what people are hungry for right now,
Absolutely. I mean, don't you all feel like, too, that there's actually Paul Wondrak and I have talked about this in the sense of this idea of like the bridging of the gap in terms of, for me, I think it is the young, like it's young, instilling and like, giving this empowerment to young artists, that they actually know that it is possible, that it's not just like, it's not just on stage, that is
right.
Producers, it is general managers, it is casting directors, it is writers, it is writing designers, it's all the things. But I feel like a lot of our community don't even know that they can do that. And they don't even know that there is a career, not just in front of the camera or in front of the audience, that there is I'm like, you really want some of the coins? You know what I mean? Like there's
if I really wanted some of the coins, I would be a member of IATSE.
Yeah, that's where you need to go. That's where
I
the
would
money
be a
is, baby.
statement. I would be backstage, always having a job.
Right.
Being able to look at my retirement down a straight barrel lens. That's where I would be. I think we get so fascinated. It's my mother used to say, it's basketball syndrome. Every little Black boy and girl wants to be a basketball player because it's that instant success, and all they see is money, and they want to be famous. They want the celebratory, they want the awards, they want all of that, but they forget the work that goes into that and know that it's so much smaller than what they're looking at. No one wants to see the failure in anything. They just want to see the instant gratification. And there are so many different facets in this community that so many people can do if they tried it.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that, for me, that's what I am in terms of this community, and being able to like offer a bridge, a task force that is able to go to, some of these universities and even younger, like high schools and all the things, whatever it is that they are on this path to sort of to know that there's actually more, and actually connecting them with the fierce producers, all of the things that they can be in the room, and they can actually sort of start doing that. It's so important that we start getting that.
I saw a graphic on, it was Twitter or Instagram or something, and it was like, in the past year, there were, and I'm thinking of it right now, so these numbers may be wrong, there were like 6.4 million unused tickets for the entire Broadway season, and there was a much smaller number of Black and brown children in public schooling. What would be perfect, and this was something that Slave Play did, was just giving Black people an opportunity to say, hey, this day, these times are specifically for Black and brown students with discounted tickets. Come see us. And I think, yes, it's an opportunity for Black people to see other people who look like them on stage, but it's also an opportunity for them to just be in a theater. I think so much of the disconnect just comes with people not knowing where they're going with Broadway. We see the stage and we see the awards and we see the glitz and the glam, but like, I don't know where the disconnect is, but I think some of it could be bridged by just bringing more Black people into a physical theater and having them see the thing in action.
I love that. I love that, because then maybe there could be a talk back after where they bring in, say a stage manager, they bring in, maybe like they work it out with some of the designers, and we actually do a talk back with not just the actors, but they got to see this show. And then after we get to have a talk back down at the lift of the stage, we come back to our, you know what I mean? We all come down and they get to sort of talk with a lot of the other people who make, as we all know, the village that it takes to put on a show. Yeah. So I really like that. We might be onto something there. I love that idea. We have to sort of like figure out that. But that's a great thing to sort of producers, people who are listening, all the things like that's incredible. That's a really, really easy. I think that's such an easy thing to do. You know what I mean? It's a very now thing that can happen and sort of expand. But I love that. These are great. This is wonderful. This is the thing that I am really about. I mean, obviously, I want us to hear this. I want us to hear our stories, and this is why I'm doing these panels on Broadway.com. But it's also about action and what can we do for people to be able to have the like literally looking at the hope of being able to do something different and something that's not just on stage in their life. So it's important for me that we do that and we have action, that there's there's going on. So the last thing is there anything that you want to say, or that obviously everybody has gone through this moment of awakening differently and processing things differently, and it's not only an awakening for the country in terms of with this specifically the Black Lives Matters movement, but also for adding the voices of our queer community as well. So is there anything that you want to say right now that just sort of gives hope to our young people who are looking out and looking up to you? Because there are a lot of people that look up to you that you may not even know. And so what would you want to say to that person? And moreover, what would you want to, actually, I'm going to change the question. What would you want to say to your younger selves?
Oh.
Because I think that's actually important. People can learn from that. So what would you want to say to your younger selves?
You don't have to knock someone successful down to be successful. I think a lot of people get confused when someone says, fight for what you want, or work really hard and do anything by all means necessary. And they start deteriorating relationships, and they start knocking other successful people down and thinking that they need to punch up to get up and just knock someone out so that they can get into that spot, when we can all coexist. And I would tell myself that because I did a lot of that. And I know now that I didn't have to do any of that.
Thank you for sharing that, Alex. Thank you for sharing that, because you're not the only one, and some people are afraid to even say that out loud. And so thank you for actually saying that, because that's one that people do and they will not admit that they are doing. So yeah. What about for the rest of you? What would you say?
I would say don't wait for someone to open the door. Build your own to walk through. Your voice matters, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, your accomplishments. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your ideas, your imagination, your creativity, it matters. Don't wait for Broadway or that casting director to give you the opportunity. You make it yourself. Get with your friends, because that's what we need. We need those new voices, the new energy, and to not let their standards be your standards. You make your own standards. Don't let their standards be your standards. None of that, because it's stifling, and it blocks you fully being who you are. I mean, everybody in this panel is fully who they are. Can you imagine who you would be if you were like this? Everybody needs to be their full selves unapologetically all the time, and screw what everybody else thinks. If they ain't paying your bills, don't pay them no mind.
Talk about that.
Right. It's a full, like, come on now. Not with the gum. How dare you with the gum?
With the side too.
And a head wrap. I'm so mad at you on all of that right now. Miss Celia, What about for you? What would you tell your? I mean, I feel like you're. I mean,
I'm still a baby.
You still are young.
I am.
But what would you? But you know what? What would you tell your? What would you? You said you mentioned that little second grade girl who was, with her sort of being, made fun of with her dark skin. What would you tell that little Celia?
The first thing I would tell her is that she is worthy of greatness. No matter what. You are worthy of greatness. Let me rephrase. You are worthy of self-defined greatness. Not what everyone else is saying you should do. Whatever you want for yourself is good enough, period. And do not listen to the noise of what other people are saying you should do because of what they think you are, because they don't know you like you know you.
Right. Say that.
That's a word. See, she's going to be a pastor somewhere.
Listen. There's so much. There's so much I would want to tell myself. There's so much I'm still telling myself. I still because it's hard. Like,
absolutely.
All of us know that like we can key and joy and praise and shout all we want, but at the end of the day, being Black and queer is difficult. Being Black, queer, and proud is difficult. So forgive yourself for taking time and saying, you know what, I can't do A, B, C, D because I got to protect my heart right now. And not let other people tell you that you're wrong for doing that. Because as Black people, it's very easy for us to think that the worst thing we can do is say no.
Yes, I love it.
Understand that just as everyone else gets the opportunity to take time for themselves and everyone else has an opportunity to have a moment and have a little breakdown, you have the right to that. Because this world is only setting up systems for, as Black people, this country is only setting up systems for our failure. And taking the time to say, I'm stepping back because this energy is not what I deserve. I deserve goodness. I am worthy of greatness. So if y'all can't create greatness for me, I'm going to take a step back and create greatness for myself and then use that greatness to come back into the world and show you what I am worthy of. Because let them know.
And sometimes it's within your own community. Now that's key. Sometimes it is the same people that you are a part of. And sometimes you have to take a step back and look at them and say, you know what, you're not doing it for me right now, but let me choose to find the community so I can come back to show you that it was okay to be me and make the path that I have. That is, my God.
And on that note, there is nothing wrong with the community that you have. If you see people not serving you the way you want to be served, it is perfectly fine to say, hey, you know what? We've been friends for A, B, C, D, how many years long, but I'm realizing now you do not fit in where I'm growing to. Love to you, peace to you, but you are not you're just not going to be joining me on my growth path anymore because we may not be in the same place, and that is not your fault.
Right. You're not in the final callback. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like, we were in a couple of them, but you didn't. We're not going to move to the screen test. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're just not.
Wonderful. You're just not looking for it right now, and that's nobody's problem.
I only have 12 photos in my hand.
Shut up.
But 13
I have to say something. This young lady, Celia, over 10 years ago, 2009, I was working with her mom, getting my equity card in the Wiz, and she was a baby backstage, a baby. And to see you today, so gorgeous and owning all of who you are, insanely talented, and being on this panel with you today means so much. And I feel old. I still look good, but I feel old because but I just remember you in 2009 running around backstage at City Center, and to see where you are today, thriving and living your life in your fullness and representing an underrepresented group of women on Broadway I'm so proud of you, sis. I'm so proud.
Yes,
I'm so
I love it.
proud.
I love
Seriously.
it. We didn't say it. We actually didn't say it, but it was like referred to. The lovely Miss Celia Rose Gooding. Her mother is the lovely and fierce, legendary LaShawn.
That's my mama. That's my blood.
So
Oh, yeah.
I figured I would just say it since
Hey,
I'm sure
Right.
a lot of folks know it, but we'll just say it. We'll just say it so we know what's going on.
Gotta give props.
Oh my gosh. On that note, I am so filled with gratitude that the three of you that you said yes to coming on and chatting with us in this panel today. And it means so much to me. It means so much to Broadway.com, to our audience, and to so many of those young artists who have never really gotten to have this conversation out loud. So, and also to our industry leaders who have not heard some of this conversation out loud.
So listen to this conversation out loud.
Or chose to listen, exactly. So thank you all for your heart, your openness, your love, your joy, your pride, your beauty, all of the things. I am grateful, and I know that we as an audience are also grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, give a pride. Come on. I'm coming out. I want the world to know that to let it shine.
I'm trumpet. You know, I got trumpet. Right away.
Well, you know, I start into the unknown. Like I had to start, but I said,
that's sabotage. That's sabotage. You starting a hot seat.
Got it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot with y'all.
We were doing so well.
We were doing so well. The church was doing so well, and then we went off into a dun 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 dun. Oh my gosh. With that, listen, in the words of RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell can you love somebody else? Can I get an amen? Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. That was amazing and really inspiring and beautiful. And I am so grateful to my panelists, my guests today, Miss Celia Rose Gooding, Mr. Christian Dante White, and the lovely Alex Newell. Thank you all so much for opening up your hearts, and I hope you all enjoyed this episode of this panel discussion on #Live at 5. I just love getting to do this, and I am really, really grateful.